With us now, former Republican strategist Lee Carter. Lee, you've got numbers in your blood. Why do you think that the trend line has moved the way it has on that ballot test, on the congressional ballot test, from where Republicans had a very unusual edge before, and now the Democrats picking up some steam?
I mean, we're still not talking about a massive lead. So I'm not looking at this and saying this is a runaway lead for the Democrats. I also look at the same poll, that one of the polls that just came out on CNBC, and Democrats have a all-time low net favorability. They're minus 32. That's a record low number. What I'm seeing right now is that both sides are wildly unpopular. Donald Trump's approval rating not high, Democrats' approval rating very, very low. And what most Americans are saying is that the political elite are fighting against each other and not fighting for me. The issues I care about the most are cost of living, not gerrymandering maps. And we don't want to see politicians fighting against each other over map lines and have Democrats flee the state looking like they're abandoning the people, not fighting for the people. I think this looks bad for everybody. When people are saying, I'm concerned about my cost of living, fight for that. Don't fight over maps. I think this is a big mistake for both sides. And when I look at this and I look at the poll numbers, I'm actually not encouraged for either side. 78% of Americans say that elites and the political elites are playing by a different set of rules than the rest of us, and they feel like no one's fighting for them, and that's a real big problem for both parties.
So it's been 1 week since those jobs numbers came back revised with really, really gloomy figures for May and June. Revisions down into the low double digits of job gains there. He fired the head of the BLS. And then yesterday in the Oval Office, there was this strange performance where he brought in Stephen Moore with charts and graphs to actually compare his first administration, really, with that of Joe Biden. What does all this concern from President Trump on these numbers, Lee, betray to you?
It portrays to me that he's very frustrated that his story isn't being told in the way that he sees the way things are happening. And he gets fixated on these things. He gets fixated on jobs. He gets fixated on the markets. He gets fixated on a number of things. And he wants to make sure that his story is getting out there. I think there's no one better at trying to control the narrative than Donald Trump. And I think he gets really frustrated when he can't. And that's what we're seeing right now, a huge sense of frustration. I will say, when we look at some of the recent polling, I think it's interesting. We're starting to see a small shift now in how people are viewing the economy. In fact, we're seeing that the most positive numbers and most recent poll by CNBC towards the economy since 2021. And that's a pretty big deal. And I think that's the story that Donald Trump is trying to get out there. Whether or not everybody's going to be buying it, I don't know. I think a lot of people are looking at what happened with the jobs numbers and why is he so frustrated? And I think a lot of people are trying to read into this. But I think we're seeing somebody who's really trying to get a story told.
Lee Carter, Maria Cardona, great to see you both. Thank you.